What is climate change? You may have heard about it in the news, but what does climate change actually mean? Climate change, sometimes referred to as global warming, is a series of effects on our planet that take place over a long period of time. It's caused by high levels of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere that retain infrared light radiating from Earth, causing the gradual warming of the planet. But an increase in average temperature isn't the only effect of climate change. Other effects include more severe hurricanes due to rising ocean temperatures, higher probability of wildfires due to longer dry seasons, and rising sea levels due to the melting of polar ice caps. And it could have many more profound impacts as well, especially for residents of the state of Florida. For more about this, I spoke to astrophysicist and professor at the University of North Florida, Dr. John Hewitt. When talking about climate change, I asked if the impact of rising sea levels should be concerning for residents of Florida.
Oh, it should. Yeah, absolutely. So I think there was just some news this past week about the western Antarctic ice sheets starting to fracture and melt. And so if you got rid of the polar ice caps, you would be looking at a sea level rise of more than 10 meters, which is kind of unthinkable. It would sink half the state of Florida. So we really, and this could happen in the next 100 years. There are actually quite a few models that predict the melting of the polar caps maybe within the next century.
A sea level rise of a few meters doesn't sound like much, but Dr. Hewitt indicated that a sea level rise of only 1 meter would be enough to eliminate a good chunk of South Florida. Cities like Miami and Fort Lauderdale would be gone. A sea level rise of several meters would take out even more of the Florida boundary, including areas in the Panhandle and Northeast Florida. All of this is possible within the next 100 years, according to Hewitt. More powerful hurricanes should also be a concern for Florida residents. As some saw from Hurricane Matthew in October, high wind speeds and storm surge are capable of destroying large amounts of property. A hurricane's destructive power can only be amplified due to climate change, leaving people at the beaches uniquely exposed. Hewitt also said that the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere has almost doubled what would be considered a normal amount. In fact, carbon dioxide levels are higher than at any other point in the past 800,000 years. What is it that's causing this immense amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere? The answer is the human burning of fossil fuels. Some efforts have been made to reduce the burning of fossil fuels. Some people drive cars that are half gas-powered and half powered by electricity, but this isn't enough to reverse the effects of climate change. Can anything reverse the effects of climate change? Is it too late to stop it from happening? According to Hewitt, we can only mitigate its effects at this point. However, we would need to dramatically reduce the amount of carbon dioxide we put into the atmosphere. If nothing changes, here are some things that Hewitt thinks Floridians should be concerned about.
There's basically three things you need to be worried about. One is your house or city or town going to be underwater? The sea levels are going to rise, and I think there's been studies that shown that almost 10 million people in the United States live within 6 feet of the shoreline. So all of those houses are going to be gone. All those people are going to have to move somewhere. It's going to really destabilize communities. Even if you don't live by the beach, you have to worry about where's your fresh water going to come from. And so rising sea levels will really limit the amount of fresh water in Florida because salt water will start to flood into our aquifers. And then the third consequence is really, even if you're at a safe level, this is going to change economies. It's quite possible, but by the end of this century, Miami might not be a city anymore. It'll be underwater. So if you think about moving the population of Miami somewhere else in Florida, it's really a scary thought for just the total social upheaval that would happen.
You may believe in climate change. You may not. But according to Hewitt, it's not a matter of belief. It's not a matter of if this is going to happen, but when. And Floridians have special reason to fear the consequences of climate change.